Okay, and motion passes.
Okay, awesome. That brings us to the next motion, then the approval of the minutes of the last AGM. I will take a mover and a seconder for that. I see Councillor Westy and Councillor Bobkowitz. Perfect. Are there any edits to be made to the minutes? I don't see any. So with that said, I will invite council to move again over to Echo 360 to approve the minutes.
Just waiting on a few more responses from outgoing council, and then we can proceed. All right, motion passes.
Perfect. That takes us into comments from the chair. Given that I am an interim, I feel it's most appropriate to perhaps defer my speaking rights to you, Dane, for this, just to help guide council through this.
Fair enough. And if I had anything comprehensive prepared, I would share. At this stage, I think probably just a bit of a quick rundown for our incoming folks, and I suppose our outgoing folks who might not be familiar. Essentially, our annual general meeting is just for some context setting, a opportunity for both incoming and outgoing council to come together, both de-ratify and initiate the incoming council formally through this legislative process. You'll hear a couple of comments from our outgoing executive as well, just sort of recapping the year. And then for the first couple of motions, really, as you'll see on the agenda, in our for action section, it'll be the responsibility, excuse me, of our outgoing council just to approve a few things. And then once we de-ratify, or sorry, once we get to motion three, rather, both our incoming and outgoing councilors will both vote to de-ratify the outgoing council, and then from that point onward in the meeting, so for motions 4 through 8 rather, we'll have just our outgoing council voting using hand motions on Zoom. If anybody has any questions at any time, feel free to raise your hand, and Brandon and I will try to address them to the best of our abilities. But yeah, this is a pretty routine meeting. We should be kind of over and done with relatively quickly. So thank you all for bearing with us while we make do.
Awesome. Thank you, Dane. I don't think there are any further comments, so that moves into announcements. I haven't received anything from Armand with regards to announcements, so I don't believe there are any. That would then bring us into presentations, and we have a presentation from President Henriquez welcoming the incoming council. Dane, I believe you have the slides for those as well.
I do. Let me set those up here.
Awesome.
Okay, great. Hi, folks, especially hello to our incoming counselors. I know that your welcome to the USC being a virtual one is interesting, but it's the way our AGM happens every year, and I'm sure you will be grateful for it after your first 4-hour in-person council meeting, if you have one of those this year. But for those of you who I haven't met, my name is Kathlena. I am the current and soon to be outgoing, or I guess outgone president when you guys choose to ratify the new team. But every AGM, we like here at the USC to start with a little bit of a year in review, kind of like a Spotify Wrapped for your AGM. So you can see all the work that this past year's council and our staff alongside the executive have accomplished. And it can be kind of a nice bookend for our outgoing counselors to see all the work that they've helped support. So this is our USC year in review. So if you can pop over to the next slide, Dane, that would be great. There we go. So as you guys may or may not know, the USC is guided by our strategic pillars, and this is essentially all of the work that guides everything that we accomplish at the USC. So these 5 pillars are the pillars of our strategic plan: student advocacy, student support, student development, student engagement, and student life. This are the 5 buckets that everything at the USC falls into. And next year's counselors, when you're holding the executive accountable and the president as the leader of the organization, you should be watching all of the council presentations that the executive give every month and all the motions that are coming forward that are being supported by the executive, and look at, does this motion, does this work, does what we're putting our money into support one of these 5 pillars, and how large is the impact for Western students? Next slide. So one of the biggest priorities that came out of my platform when I ran for president that ends up being converted into the mandate for the USC executive for the year was elevating our advocacy at all 3 levels of government. That sort of mandate was decided on ahead of us learning about the Ontario government's Bill 33. Which is now the Supporting Children and Students Act. It's now legislated. So we met with the Minister of Colleges Research, Universities Research Excellence and Security on a number of occasions, as well as other ministers at the provincial and federal level. So we created capacity for more federal advocacy through relationship building and foundation setting, giving Steve and his incoming team sort of the foundation to be able to join CASA as observers and really formalize the work that we're doing at that level of government. On campus, it was a great year for advocacy as well. We saw success with the additional funding for our Free the Dot program, a great turnout for Take Back the Night. And we continue to elevate student concerns to decision makers. For every council meeting that you see, there are about 1 million negotiations behind the scenes that you don't. But the mandate that you support us with, council, is what helps us do all of the incredible work that we get to do for students. Next slide. In terms of student support, the USC cannot serve our mission, which is to enhance the quality of life for students and enhance the educational experience here on campus, if we first do not ensure that all students feel welcome, accepted, represented, and supported at Western. So in this regard, our operationalized services play a critical role in the Western student experience. If we could head over to the next slide. So this is just some data that our team kind of called about all of the impact we've been able to have from students or for students in some quantifiable ways. So we saw amazing uptick into the services that our students pay into, like healthcare coverage through Purple Care. So as you guys know, Purple Care is our health and dental plan, and that's something that students are opted into automatically, but can opt out if they have equivalent coverage. But we did see over 26,000 students supported with the health coverage that we offer through our in-house trust. We saw $94,000 distributed through the USC's Grants and Recognition Fund that's run by a coordinator, Alex Bayer, out of the Student Services portfolio. We saw over 15,000 rides provided through our Mustang On Demand service, which is a significant uptick from this past year, 2024-2025. And as well, we saw over 5,000 consultations through My Virtual Doctor, which is a referendum-based service that students approved a couple of years ago that gives students access to virtual healthcare. Next slide. Our food and beverage operations, for those of you who don't know, we run 3 food and beverage operations, the Spoke, the Wave, and now the Cove. Also supports students by offering quality meals, affordable pricing, and a relaxed atmosphere right in the heart of campus. It's also one of the incredible profit or revenue drivers that we have at the USC, where we're able to invest revenues that we make from our services back into the programming that we offer to students and be able to subsidize the services, the programming, and the advocacy that we do. So last year, so my outgoing counselors would have seen data from the Spoke, but actually our dine-in restaurant, The Wave, sees a lot of traffic as well, and is often the hub of all the catering and a lot of the programming that happens on campus. So we served over 39,000 people. So that's more than the entire undergraduate population here on campus. We have over 90 menu items and catered over 300 events this year. And that's both the events that are hosted in The Wave and hosted in other USC spaces. And actually our staff did a fun comparison. So compared to off-campus options in a similar price range like Jack Astor's, The Wave actually remains the more affordable choice, offering the same quality meals at up to 40% less. So being able to run our own operations in-house allows us to reinforce the USC's commitment to providing affordable options for students and using any profits that are gained from our small margin to reinvest back into the programming and services we offer to students. Next slide. So student development, this is a very fun one. There are many ways for students like yourselves to get involved and gain experience here at the USC. So we'll head over to the next slide. So the USC actually has over 250 part-time staff and of the student variety, and over 30 hired VPs, AVPs, coordinators, interns, and folks in governance positions like Armand and like Armand, who is our speaker, but not speaker of this meeting, but our speaker for this council year, which actually makes the USC the largest employer of students on campus and one of the largest employers of young people in the greater campus or Western area. So through our part-time positions at the Spoke, our full-time internships, or even the volunteers that volunteer in our peer support center, which is run by Saja, who's the peer support coordinator this year, students are at the forefront of many of our USC initiatives. And during our current recruitment cycle, so the recruitment cycle for Steve and his executive, the USC received over 500 applications for AVPs and coordinator positions, which is a significant uptick from years past, because these opportunities not only help students earn income and pay students for their expertise, they provide real-world experiences that prepares, our campus for future success beyond university. And we'll go to the next slide. Student life. This year was an incredible year for student life, and it's hard to fully capture all of the programming that we did this year, as we had a ton of programming and events for students aimed at helping them build community and connect with each other. This year was a milestone year for us in our 60th anniversary. We participated in Rock the Runway, bringing Purple Fest to the largest concert that Southwestern Ontario has ever hosted. We had a fantastic O-Week headlined by Floretta, who you'll see right in the middle there. But we also had a focus on different intensities of programming this year with events like Galentine's Week, Puppy Yoga, and Craft Nights hosted in the Wave. We also explored opportunities for off-campus events, which I know I saw many of you at this year. And we're very excited as an organization to see what Steve and his team does next year for students. And we'll go to the next slide. So one of the biggest ways the USC helps build connection is through the club system that we offer here on campus. And we have one of the largest club systems in Ontario, with 241 ratified clubs under the USC. That amounts to over 2,000 club executives. I know a few of you are on the call here today. And over 9,000 club events hosted and supported by the USC this year. So if you think about the number of students who are involved in clubs, 1 in every 2 undergraduate students currently on campus is actually the member of at least one USC ratified club. So that really speaks volumes to the impact that students are having on the lives of other students. Next slide. Student engagement. So as an organization that is for students and by students, the USC is driven to put student voices at the forefront when it comes to engaging with the campus community. So we'll go to the next slide. So I thought we would focus a little bit on some of the KPIs that I could draw for you with a lot of our digital info. So across our digital platforms, we saw an increase in the number of followers and engagement, which aren't necessarily just KPIs or metrics, but actually represent thousands of students who are discovering our events, accessing our services, and connecting with the USC in real time, which we see reflected in the applications, in the access to things like My Virtual Doctor or Mustang On Demand. We also collect feedback from students through numerous surveys related to work integrated learning or teaching, learning, and assessment, but also the kinds of programming and services that we offer and run, our recognition or name brand on campus, to ensure that our work stays relevant, student-centered, and aligned with the evolving needs of our campus community. So with over 13,000 survey responses collected, I'm excited to see what next year's team does with all that information to keep offering relevant programming and services and advocacy to students. And we'll go to the last slide, which is just a thank you. So thank you to our outgoing council for all of your hard work and dedication in ensuring that the USC truly operates from a student-centric place. Congratulations and thank you to our incoming counselors. I know you're going to do some incredible work. And it means a lot that you would step up to represent your peers and now constituents in this way. And I know that the incoming team is here, and soon they will be the current USC team, as I hope you folks move to ratify them in a second. But thank you to you for all the incredible work that you will do for the USC over the next year. And thank you all for giving me the opportunity to serve. Being USC president has been a real honor, and I have loved spending this last year with you. So with that brings me to the end of my presentation. I will turn it back over to Speaker Levy to tell us what's next.
Thank you, President Enriquez. Are there any questions or comments from outgoing council before I move into motions? I see a couple of claps in the chat, but thank you, Kat. Not seeing anything for discussion there, so I suppose that takes us into the for action session of this meeting. These first two motions, or first motion, I should say, are exclusively outgoing council, if I have that correct, Dane?
Correct.
Awesome. Perfect. So I will move us into the first motion. Give that a read over. This is the motion to approve the updated USC policy binder. Whereas the USC policy binder has been updated to reflect all policy changes, amendments, and motions approved by Council during the 2025-2026 academic year. And whereas failure to formally approve the updated binder may result in the use of outdated or inconsistent policy documents, be it resolved that USC Council approve the updated policy binder as the official governing document of the USC, and be it further resolved that the approved policy binder be published and used as the authoritative reference for USC governance moving forward. Do I have a mover and a seconder? I see Councillor Wasti and President Henriquez. Perfect. Is there any discussion on this motion? Are there any questions to this motion? Perfect. Seeing none, I would invite the outgoing council to move to Echo 360 to approve this motion.
Just waiting on a couple more responses from outgoing council. And motion passes.
Awesome. Great. Takes us to the next motion of this AGM, the ratification of the 2026-2027 Council. Be it resolved that the 2025-2026 USC Council ratify the membership of the 2026-2027 USC Council. Do I have a mover and a seconder? I see Councillor Bobkowitz and Councillor Abedi. Is there any discussion to this motion? Are there any questions? Seeing none, I will invite the outgoing council again to move to Echo 360 to vote.
And motion passes.
Wonderful. Awesome. This will bring us into the next motion as well. A lot of motions for you, but this is the joys of these kinds of meetings. This is for outgoing and incoming council, correct?
Correct.
So we will have council. Is it just hand motions for this one, Dane, then? Or?
Just hand motions, yeah, for
Okay,
incoming
awesome.
council.
So just from a show of hands, then, this is the motion to de-ratify the 2025-2026 USC Council. So whereas the term of the 2025-2026 USC Council is concluding, and whereas de-ratification provides formal closure to the Council's mandate and supports a clear transition to the incoming Council, be it resolved that the 2025-2026 USC Council be de-ratified, and be it further resolved that the de-ratification take effect prior to the start of the 2026-2027 USC Council term. Do I have a mover and a seconder? I see Councillor Turk and Councillor Foti. Are there any questions to this motion? I see a bunch of legacy hands, but I might let people put their hands down first. Is there any discussion to this motion? Councillor Gandhi? Is that a legacy hand or? Okay, awesome. Seeing none, I will invite council to move to a vote on this. So just from show of hands reactions.
Okay, so I'm seeing 32 in favor, which is a majority pass.
Awesome. For the record on that, all opposed or any abstentions?
Point of order.
Hmm?
It's for the outgoing. It's in the Echo 360.
Correct, yes.
Are we using that vote as a tally, Dane, or?
Yes, I'll go through and manually edit the responses later, but we had a majority to pass in both the incoming and outgoing.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. So on to the next motion then. This is for the incoming council exclusively. I have that right?
Oop, correct. There we go.
Awesome. Perfect. So this is the motion to appoint the 2026-2027 USC auditors. Whereas council is responsible for appointing auditors annually, and whereas PwC has demonstrated strong performance and reliability, be it resolved that council appoints PricewaterhouseCoopers as the auditors for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. Do I have a mover and a seconder? I see Councillor Dunn and Councillor Antonelli. Is there any discussion towards this motion? Are there any questions? Seeing none, I will invite the incoming council to vote on the motion with show of hands. So all those in favor? Perfect. Dane, do we have those counted?
We do.
Awesome. All opposed? And any abstentions? Great. I believe that motion passes. On to the next one. This is the motion to ratify the incoming 2026-2027 USC Board of Directors. So whereas the USC Council is responsible for ratifying appointments to the Board of Directors, whereas the selected directors have been appointed through a process aligned with USC bylaws and terms of reference, Be it resolved that USC Council ratify the following individuals as members of the Board of Directors for the 2026-2027 term. Shivoham Nar, Harry Yang, Sukhman Sunner, Dipali Khandelwal, Ralph Bo Aboud, Audrey Wong, Pooji Adhikari, Giorgio Ephraimidis, and Steve Shaw. Be it further resolved that the ratified directors begin their terms immediately upon approval. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. I see Councillor Uda and Councillor Antonelli. Perfect. Are there any questions towards the motion? Is there any discussion? Perfect. Seeing none, I will invite the incoming council to once again vote by a show of hands. So all those in favor? Let me know when we got those tallied up, Dane.
There we go.
Awesome. All opposed? And any abstentions? Motion carries, question mark, I believe.
Yes, motion carries.
Great, awesome. On to the next motion, and this is the motion to approve the 2026-2027 legislative calendar. So whereas the USC Council requires an approved legislative calendar to guide meetings and governance timelines, and whereas the proposed calendar has been developed to reflect operational needs and governance priorities, be it resolved that USC Council approve the 2026-2027 legislative calendar. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Perfect. Councillor Abdelrahman and Councillor McQuaig. Is there any discussion towards the motion? Are there any questions? Seeing none, I will once again invite the incoming council to vote by a show of hands. So all those in favor? All opposed? And any abstentions? Perfect. Motion carries. So on to the motion to elect one councillor to the Purple Care Trust. So Dane, just remind me here procedurally, we take the motion, the moving and seconding first, and then we call for nominations from the floor?
Correct.
Awesome. Great. So read this out. Whereas the Purple Care Trust requires one voting councillor or voting representative from council, be it resolved that council elect one councillor to serve as a voting member on the Purple Care Trust. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. See Councillor Rahab and Councillor Suleiman. Perfect. So I'm going to maybe defer to you here, Dane, but I believe the process for this is that we select nominations from the floor. So incoming councillors are invited to give a, is it 2 minute or 1 minute?
I'd say 1 minute.
Okay. A 1 minute statement to council about why they want to run for the Purple Care Trust position, the Purple Care Trustee position rather. And then we will have an election following from there if there are multiple applicants towards that. I hope that kind of covers it, Dane. I know, again, this has been a bit interim, but.
Yes, absolutely. Just a quick point of information. So again, this is only open to incoming counselors to sit on the as a representative of the Purple Care Trustee. We will be voting via online form. If there is more than one applicant, you'll be sent a Google form. I'll place the link in the agenda, and if anyone has issues accessing it, I'll send it over email. But otherwise, that's just voting particulars. Informationally, everything is as presented.
Okay. Perfect. With that said, we can open nominations from the floor. So any counselor interested, please raise your hand. Okay. I see Counselor Osei Tutu. Anyone else? I'll leave it open for maybe one more minute. Okay, not seeing anyone else there. Dane, again, I defer to you. Is the 1 minute still necessary here?
At the discretion of the counselor in
Sure,
question, otherwise this is uncontested.
absolutely. If you would like to, Counselor, you're more than welcome to give your statement to us. I can time you if you'd like, but
Okay, sure. Hopefully you can hear me.
sure, yeah, just give me 1 second there. I'll get you set up.
All right.
Perfect. Whenever you are ready.
Okay. This is gonna be very like impromptu, but I would like to be on sitting on the Purple Care Trust as representative from the council because I'm really appreciative of what the service does for the university. And especially coming as a tour guide, that's one of the areas that parents often ask questions about a lot when giving my tours. They always ask about campus safety and the resources that are available for students. Because most of the time, for some students, they may be coming over to Western, maybe from the downtown Toronto area, or maybe leaving home in a sense. And maybe it may be a bit of an adjustment to sort out like all the health related information as well, but I do appreciate and like how Purple Codes automatically gets admitted to all students who do attend to Western, and I believe that is a really great and helpful service. I want to continue to keep pushing that to the broader students population here at Western because I didn't really know a lot about it too much until I came into the role of being a tour guide. That's how I found out about it. And I just want to ensure that we continue to ensure that more students know that it is an available option that they can use that as a part of the Western tuition to help amplify the experience here at Western University.
Thank you, Counselor. Perfect. Um, with no other nominations, then we can move to the vote on the motion for this or moving it forward. So be it resolved that Council elect Gabriel Osei Tutu to the position of Purple Care Trustee member. Do I have a mover and a seconder for that? See Councillor Balthazar and Councillor Lay. Is there any discussion towards the motion? Are there any questions? Perfect. Seeing none, I will once again invite council to vote via show of hands. So all those in favor?
Okay.
All opposed? And any abstentions? Perfect. Motion carries. That takes us to the last motion of this meeting then. This is the motion to endorse the incoming VPEA to run for external positions. Whereas the Vice President External Affairs requires the Council's approval to run for external positions, and whereas the Vice President External Affairs has successfully run or plans to run for an executive position within USA, be it resolved that Council endorses the Vice President External Affairs campaign or acceptance of an executive position within USA. I have President Shaw as the mover. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Antonelli. Perfect. Are there any questions towards this motion? Is there any discussion?
Councillor Lim, you have your hand up.
Perfect. Seeing none for that, then I don't know, Steve, if you want to weigh in, or Stefan, if you want to speak to this as well.
Okay. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. Repeating Kat's words. First of all, congratulations, new counselors, for being here. Council was a very exciting time and place for the governance of the University Students' Council, and I hope that we can all make the most out of our opportunities here as well. This is a very special motion for me. For those of you who don't know, I've been a counselor for 1 year, so it feels weird being in this space again as the president this time now. But yeah, so this motion here is to introduce and ready to get council's endorsement for our Vice President of External Affairs, Stefan, to run for an USA position. So for those who don't know, USA, Ontario Undergraduate Students Association Alliance, sorry, really is meant for a collective space for the Ontario universities, and not all of them are in it, but it's a way to work and to, I guess, lobby and advocate to the government as well. On USA, there's a steering committee that is composed of the president, the vice president of finance, the vice president HR, and the vice president governance as well. Human resources, finance. Yeah. So this motion is to allow the USC's Vice President External Affairs to run for any of those positions. So yeah, that's a bit more. Please feel free to field any questions. I'll be happy to answer them as well. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, President Shaw. With that said, any further questions or any further discussion on this motion? Perfect. Seeing none, I will again invite council to vote by a show of hands. So all those in favor?
Okay.
All opposed? And any abstentions? Wonderful. Motion carries. On to the last item of business then, the motion to terminate this meeting. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Perfect. I see Councillor Dunn and Councillor Suleiman. Perfect.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, everybody. I know there was a bit of a hiccup, but you guys did really well.